yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 227. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this electric Sunday evening, Earth date December 11th, 2022. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon.
Hello, people.
And with us today as well, we have a special guest who just loves coming on and wreaking havoc, Bucky.
Hello, everyone. I'm staring directly into camera without blinking and hoping that this is making things more intimate between everyone.
I don't know if intimate's the word, but it's definitely making it something.
Making it more seductive, and here's what it's doing.
Still not,
Definitely
not the
not
word.
a word.
Nope, not that one either. Nope.
It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
I'm getting so hot.
Are you going to take your clothes off?
Yeah.
God, I hate both of you. Only because you beat me to it.
Yeah.
Only because you beat me to it. So, how's everybody? Brandon, you go first. Shut up, Bucky.
Well, things have been good for me. Still working at the Library of Ashurbanipal, and things are going well there. My work recently, for being an ancient library, my work recently decided to upgrade to the 21st century and got mouse pads with my face printed on them, which I shared on Facebook. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, you saw that.
Yeah.
I didn't share it to Dueling Ogres because it has my work's phone number on it, so I'd rather not put it out there. It has where I work and my phone number, but
come on, Brandon.
Here's a question. Can whoever's in charge of the Dueling Ogres Bazaar create a Dueling Ogres branded mouse pad with Brandon's face on it?
Yeah, only he's dressed up like
an
purchase ancient fucking
of the Library of Ashy Boner Pals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ashy Boner Pals.
I thought of that and I had to find a way to work it in. Oh, God.
Oh, so dumb.
But yeah, that's how I've been doing for the most part. Just chugging along through life. Just chewing it.
Woo woo. All right, Bucky, your turn.
Just chewing it. Okay. I've been okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, just been working a lot. I've been doing a lot of concerts, and that's fun.
That's good. It's good to have fun. It's good to go out and do some things that...
and some stuff
that other people aren't doing.
So what's been your favorite concert so far?
I have to say probably the festival I went to, just because it was 3 days of awesome music that I like.
Yeah.
Which just had a smattering of heavy metal,
just
emo type stuff. They had 3 Days Grace, Falling in Reverse, Papa Roach, others in that vein.
This is pretty cool too. I can introduce you to some good music sometime too.
Oh, okay. What you were sending me this morning, I did actually enjoy.
I know. I'm just giving you shit.
I was gonna say like what, Brandon? Like fucking the Pixies.
The Pixies are great. Violent Femmes. I mean, yeah, 90s grungy stuff, but I like new music.
We grew up in different times,
I like
Brandon.
new music.
I like this. I like
Yeah?
Amy Winehouse.
Huh? Dude, she's been dead for 10 years.
Man, spoiler alert. I'm still on her second album.
The headliners for the festival that I saw were Korn, Evanescence, and Breaking Benjamin.
All pretty big name bands.
This is true.
We had the chance to see Disturbed, but it ended. That was the last day of the festival, and it was just raining all day, and the people I was with just wanted to leave. And I was very disappointed because I wanted to see Disturbed.
Yeah, why do they gotta be fucking buzzkills? What's a little bit?
I mean,
rain isn't gonna hurt you.
We had been sitting in it since 11 a.m.
Rain isn't gonna hurt you.
His friends were made of sugar, Remington.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because I don't have any real friends, so
I
have to make them out of
sugar together. Yeah,
yeah. It really sucked because they were my friends for like 3 days and then they left me.
Did any of them get carried away by ants?
No, surprisingly.
Oh.
I think the vibration from all the speakers murdered whatever ants were in the immediate vicinity.
Yeah, ants hate vibrations. That's a fact.
They do.
That's a straight up nature fact.
Yeah.
Nature fact.
Especially the song "Good Vibrations." They're not keen on that either.
No, that's they actually use that in Guantanamo Bay, but for ants. Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay.
I can't get it there, but yeah, that's how they torture.
Guantanamo Bay.
By playing Good Vibrations.
I feel like this bit is gone further than it needs to.
Yeah, it has.
No, I'm running this fucker into the ground.
You already did.
Like you already did when you said Guantanamo Bay, but for ants.
Fair. How have you been, Remington?
I've been doing okay. I had to completely redo OBS. I upgraded. We'd been playing D&D, and I had been loading everything in, and it had just been like fucking taking a ton of CPU and being a real pain in the ass. Right now I'm sitting at like 11%, which I still feel is a little big, but it's not that bad. But I was hitting like 40-50% on my CPU, considering the fact that all of the graphic stuff is supposed to be handled by my GPU. I was really not feeling it. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade to OBS 28. Which is, it's kind of a big thing because they rebuilt a lot of stuff from like the ground up in OBS 28. So a lot of plugins just stopped working. So everybody in the OBS sphere was like, 27 point whatever is still viable. If you're using plugins that have been set up for that, just know that they may not work on OBS 28. So it's been enough time that all of the ones that I primarily use do work. So I just went ahead and reinstalled everything, updated, and hopefully we will have a better experience overall. Or I will.
Which is all that really matters.
That's
as long
really
as you're
all
having
that
a better
matters.
experience. Yep. So will the podcast watchers / listeners notice any difference at all?
Hopefully not a lot. I had to rejigger a couple of things just so I could get 3 people on here. I did have like a circular mat over top of us, so we were circles instead of squares, but since I added Bucky, I didn't feel like
everything.
Spending all of that extra time to set that up for his little square down here. Down, yeah, there we go. Down here as well. So, so we're squares. We're a bunch of squares, bro. Other than that, 'tis the Christmas season. We skipped right over Thanksgiving, and I have begun the tedious task of packing up all of everybody's presents and sending them across the country to other people.
Are you an elf?
Yes.
At Santa's workshop?
That makes so much sense.
I'm a UPS store elf.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were like a cool elf.
No,
Santa.
I'm not like Brandon, who works at a ancient library. I don't really care if people
ashy
know where
boner
I work.
pals. Oh, okay.
The library of ashy boner pals.
The way I feel about where I work is the same way I feel about whether or not you want to come over to my house and see me in my underwear. Just don't come over if you don't want to see me in my underwear.
Yeah.
I always want to see you in your underwear.
Do you
I
work
work
in
in
your
my
underwear at work? Okay.
Yep. It's
That's
really awkward for a lot of people.
Really comfortable though.
I'm fucking like
I
swinging
went
in
in
the
to
wind.
ship
It's
something
fantastic.
one time and he was in his underwear, so can confirm.
Do you wear a shirt too?
No.
No.
So you're just in your tighty whities?
Yeah.
He wears a bikini top.
All right.
Like
Anyway,
a really thin one, and you can see where he tanned with a bigger one.
Didn't like his areolas poke out of the
Okay.
King
all
of
right.
yeah.
Sauce.
Okay. Let's just go ahead and Brandon, why don't you cut Bucky off and do a story?
Oh, he cut me off. I'm dead.
So the Oxford English Dictionary does a word of the year every year.
Uh-huh.
Are you guys familiar with this?
I've heard of it.
Last year, 2021, the word of the year was Vax, V-A-X, which
Okay.
makes sense considering everything that was going on.
Right.
If you were to take a random guess as to what the word of the year is this year, considering. I know this is a broad topic, but just shoot out random guess, top of your mind, first word that comes to mind.
Big mood.
Okay.
Big mood. That's 2 words. But to
Well,
be fair,
this-
vax is just a
Yeet.
shortening of vaccination, which
Yeah.
That I will tell you, in years past, they've used phrases instead of just words.
there's like so many words in the English language. Why can't they just pick an actual word? Singular word. Come on, Oxford.
Yeah, you do it once a podcast. They
Yeah.
can't do it once a year.
I mean, I think there's been 1 or 2 where it have been phrases, but yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Oxford.
So the word of the year then is goblin mode.
Goblin
God.
Goblin mode?
Oh no.
Yes.
This is clearly something that I don't understand.
I feel like I've seen the meme. I want to see if I'm right.
Yeah, Bucky, you are the youngest of us by far. Explain goblin mode to us.
Why don't you explain it? Because I'm not sure if I'd be right.
Okay, so according to NPR, goblin mode is mindlessly binge watching television without worrying about the time. It's eating snacks in bed without a care about leftover crumbs. And it's wearing the same pair of pajamas all week while working from home. Welcome to goblin mode.
Okay, that's not what I thought it was.
The slang term is defined as a type of behavior which is unapologetically self-indulgent, lazy, slovenly, or greedy, typically in a way that rejects social norms or expectations. So what do you guys think about the living language aspect of English?
Is that what he calls it?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I just think it's really interesting that English is growing so large from pulling in, especially with the internet and the interconnectivity between everybody, is just pulling in all these ideas from everywhere in the world. And then growing into language like goblin mode.
I mean, I think all languages are like that, as people continue to exist. We just find new words and phrases and make up new things for things. I think that's
and I mean,
nature.
English is notoriously a difficult language and a very broad and growing language, though.
Yeah.
Like, I know other languages do as well, but I only can speak to English because I can only speak the one.
The one and a little bit of French.
Yeah. Un petit français.
Oui. Yeah, but still, I think, I don't know. I kind of take that idea of like a living language as just something that is a thing that has always existed so long, or for as long as we've been able to talk. Have
You are
used
just-
grunts.
You are
communicate.
unflappable in your sense of not caring about things.
I don't flap, man. I'm far too heavy to get off the ground.
Yeah.
Thick bones, they say.
Yeah.
Thick L.
That's definitely what it is the thick bones. So yeah, I mean, that's, if you guys don't have any comments on goblin mode, then that's my story for that.
I like the phrase. It's a cool phrase.
It was,
I feel like it's just akin to. It's just a new way to say couch potato.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's much more evocative going goblin mode.
See,
It won out against Metaverse and hashtag I stand with.
I think that goblin mode is the idea tied behind that is very offensive to goblins. I think it's a little bit racist towards goblins. And I don't really appreciate it. I know several goblins who work very hard to get what they want, even though sometimes it's through shady means. But everybody has their quirks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to work.
Mm-hmm. So
even filthy goblins got to work.
Even filthy goblins. Yeah, so that's that.
So yeah, hit me with your story. You only brought one story today.
Well, I'll
woefully ill-prepared.
Listen. I've spent a lot of time setting the new stuff up. Okay.
You're waving a knife around like a psychopath as you talk too.
Yeah, I know. Shut up, Bucky.
We aren't in the same room.
Bucky.
Yes.
It's your turn.
For what?
To do a story.
Okay. Well, all of my stories are kind of in the same vein. It all has to do with comic book news.
That's fine.
Yeah, so let's wait until closer to the end and then have Bucky just kind of go through his comic news. That was kind of my plan.
You want to let Bucky just talk for like 45 minutes?
No, we'll cut him off after like 10.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, that's how you succeed in podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing clearly hasn't worked so far, Remington. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
Listen, I just do this because it's fun, okay?
Here's a more serious story that I remembered, and we can discuss.
Cool.
So it's not cool, Remington. So were you guys ever fans of the Power Rangers?
I watched it as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hated Power Rangers. I thought it was so fucking lame.
I mean, it is very cringy if you go back and watch it now.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, longtime staple of the Power Rangers universe, Jason David Frank passed away not that long ago.
Yeah.
He played the Green Ranger and the White Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yep.
And then the one I know him from was the Black Ranger of Power Rangers Dino Thunder. I know there are a few others, but I didn't watch those.
Is that a celebrity death that hits you hard?
I mean, it didn't hit me hard, but it definitely felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't too terribly old, right? I mean, he was only
it was a suicide.
40s, 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He took his own life.
Yeah.
Because of I don't want to say one reason or another about why, because I obviously have no idea. I just have read reports.
Right.
But some of them have been conflicting, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to tell.
Suicide,
I mean, you never really know what's going through somebody's head when they decide to do something like that and follow through.
Yeah, there could be all kinds of different factors that are affecting them, and then just one of them rises to the surface at the wrong time.
Yep. Something that at any other point in the day or their life they'd be able to muscle through, and for some reason they just can't on that one.
Yep.
So
well,
it's a weird thing for sure. We've covered suicide and stuff like this on the show before. Way early with Cody, right?
Yeah, when we were doing theme episodes sometimes.
Yeah. So that one's a really solid episode if anybody wants to go back and listen to it, and you're feeling a little down and questioning what the purpose of life is. You can at least go and listen to other people's takes on it, and maybe get some extra perspective. Whether it's, I mean, I don't know if you can call just talking about it good perspective, because but it's perspective.
It is a perspective regardless.
Yeah.
So as I remember hearing Brandon doing the last episode for the space dog Leica, I'd say let's give Jason David Frank a moment of silence.
There we go.
All right.
The moment is there. Go Power Ranger into the next life. I don't fucking know.
That was nice. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a good eulogy.
Yeah.
Rest in Morphers. That one was worse.
That was less. That wasn't as good.
I couldn't end on too high of a note, because then people would expect more of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always have to end on the high note. You always have to end on the high note. Walk out. Even if you've got more material, as soon as you hit that high note, you're done.
When you're leaving them smiling, that's what we want.
I always leave them smiling and satisfied.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Microsoft is trying to buy Activision-Blizzard?
No.
That doesn't surprise me.
I did
but
not.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they are going to it was a ridiculous amount of money.
Oh, I'm sure.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
So are they buying
69
Activision or are they buying
$69 billion.
God damn.
Nice.
So,
Activision bought Blizzard already.
Yes.
So it's now Activision-Blizzard. So Microsoft is buying Activision-Blizzard.
Okay. Now, they are, like, this is confirmed, or they're just trying to?
They are. The problem now is that the FTC is suing to block Microsoft from buying Activision-Blizzard.
To keep it from being a monopoly?
Yeah.
The agency alleges that the maker of Xbox would gain control of top video game franchises, enabling it to harm competition in high-performance gaming consoles and subscription services by denying or degrading rivals access to its popular content. So it seems like their main argument is that by acquiring, after having so much of a company that makes games, they could very easily only release it on Xbox and PC and cut out the competition.
In a similar vein, I remember that argument was going around when Disney was buying 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, as long as, I mean, purchasing a company and then just letting them go ahead and go about their business and keep doing the good things that they're doing and just kind of babysitting and hand holding and maybe just guiding a little bit. When you start making like sweeping policy changes that really affects the entirety of a market, that's definitely a bad thing. So the idea that the chance of that happening is there, that it's something that can be an apple that they might pick, I can understand trying to keep that from happening. But at the same time, I mean, if they just let them continue doing what they're doing, does it really matter who owns who?
Yeah. Well, this is from the FTC site that I'm reading this article from. And this is one more point that I want to make here. The FTC pointed to Microsoft's record of acquiring and using valuable gaming content to suppress competition from rival consoles, including its acquisition of ZeniMax. Blah, blah, blah. Microsoft decided to make several of Bethesda's titles, including Starfield and Redfall, Microsoft exclusives, despite assurances it had given to European antitrust authorities that it had no incentive to withhold games from rival consoles.
I was actually going to mention that because I remember following that and saying that and possibly, I heard a rumor that future Elder Scrolls games might be Xbox exclusive.
Good. Fuck them. Fuck PlayStation. No, I like the Xbox more than the PlayStation, but PlayStation has some really solid exclusives on it.
Yeah.
That I haven't played and would like to at some point. I'd like to own a PS5, but I'm going to get an Xbox first. I don't know. I'm still so on the fence about exclusives. I understand the need for them to exist, but I almost kind of feel like everybody will put themselves in a particular camp anyway on whether or not they want to own one system over another. Yeah.
You know, like I fucking will probably never buy an Xbox, or I never have bought a PlayStation. If I buy anything PlayStation, it'll probably be like a PlayStation 2 or something like that, and a DDR mat so I can get back to playing DDR.
You know those mini consoles that they make, like the mini Genesis and the mini NES?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would you buy one of a Dreamcast if it had like Crazy Taxi and some other games on it?
I don't know, because there were really only a few games that I had for the Dreamcast. It was Soul Calibur, Crazy Taxi, and the spray painting one.
Jet Grind Radio.
Jet Grind Radio, yeah. God,
such a fucking great game.
Fucking good game, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all that I had for it, and that's all that I needed for it. There was a lot that the Dreamcast did that was really innovative and really fun, like having the cartridges in the controllers and having like little mini games and stuff that you could do through them, and that's where you save the data. It was really cool, but
And I believe it was one of the first console MMOs too, because you had Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah.
And the Dreamcast had a little Ethernet port in the back, or a telephone port you'd plug your telephone jack into.
Yeah.
I remember back
in our day. When there
what was
were
your
only
first console,
6
Bucky?
wires.
The first one, like my first new console, that wasn't like a handheld, was a Nintendo Wii. But I remember my cousin's stepdad once brought us his old Sega Genesis, and we played the shit out of that.
Oh, nice.
I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2. He had some like old NHL games. And then I remember a Tasmanian Devil, like from the Looney Tunes game.
Yeah, the Tasmanian Devil one was good.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Genesis.
Yeah. I played a lot of Super Nintendo.
So big companies buying big companies, yay or nay? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
No.
Depends on the company, I'd say.
Thumbs clean,
if they were to
thumbs brown.
If they were to buy the company and then just like Remington said, allow them to just keep doing what they're doing, that's one thing. But
I think
it doesn't. With just based on Microsoft's track record for when they do that, I can see why the FTC is like doing an investigation into it.
I would say I think my issue with bigger companies buying other companies or smaller companies is kind of twofold, because we still see a lot of companies like Unilever, for instance. Unilever owns a lot of other companies, but they're all under one big umbrella. So, and they handle just tons of different kinds of brands. I feel like it's a double-edged sword, because these bigger companies buy these smaller companies, and then those smaller companies have more revenue that they can draw from to be able to, bring their stuff to the next level. But also, as far as like gaming and technology and stuff goes, technology has come so far in the gaming industry and even in the movie making industry, where you have at your fingertips as a solo artist the ability to make a fantastic game or a fantastic movie on your own if you feel like putting the work in and learning the skills that you need to do it and just absolutely taking off. So we're in this weird position where small companies, small gaming creators, all they really need is just the marketing drive to get their fantastic game out there. And word of mouth can spread fast, but it's not as fast as like actually, paying for multi-million-dollar marketing for their game.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's this double-edged sword for me, because I think we should really be supporting your indie gamer or your indie creators across all spectrums as much as we can, because that's where the talent is. And there are certainly some who will want to join a studio perhaps at some point, but the problem with joining a studio is that what you trade in stability, you might lose in creativity. Like, because then you are just following somebody else's dream, somebody else's render, somebody else's story, and you're putting your own spin on it. You're being able to bring what you bring to the table, whatever strengths you have, but
Right.
you don't get to tell your story. It's kind of like, we all play D&D together, and Brandon and I as DMs have almost always created our own world for things to happen in.
Yeah.
And we may draw from modules and stuff, like when I was DMing the most recent time that I was DMing, we were doing Sunless Citadel, which is a long and storied module in D&D that has spanned several editions. But you know, it was just easy, and we wanted to get back into the swing of playing D&D, so we just started running it. And there were certain points, but it's somebody else's story. So like, as a DM, you have to maneuver to try and fit it into whatever you might be doing later, and branching it out from something. But there's this certain stifling of creativity on your own end.
Like if somebody is overwatching you, like if somebody's bought your company.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you, some of the restrictions can actually help your creativity. Like, say you want to have this big epic fight scene, but you only have this amount of money, you can't necessarily do the full scope of what you had in mind. This is a movie example, but the closest thing I can think of is the first Deadpool film. The end fight between Deadpool and the bad guys was supposed to be this massive epic gunfight between Deadpool, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Colossus. But they ended up they didn't have the money to shoot a big epic gunfight. So in the film, they just made Deadpool just stupidly forget his gun bag in the taxi cab that brought him to the thing.
Yeah.
So the only reason that happened was because they didn't have the money to do that. And in the end, it was a very creative way to make it funny and get around that problem.
Yeah.
So having restrictions, like Rem's saying, can sometimes help creativity, but then you immediately lose those restrictions. It might change the way you think things out. Like I remember the last podcast, because I listened to it the other day, Brandon was saying that when a new person comes in to play D&D, or I think it was Rem that said this, like 90% of the time they are very timid and shy when it comes to how they play stuff, because they can literally do anything. Because they have zero restrictions on what they can do, really. I know I was like that when I started. Yeah.
And everybody is, because nobody really realizes that they can literally do anything.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
No, you're good. And the people who do realize that coming into it kind of tend to want to sow chaos and not be party members, party players. So
I mean, part of me has wanted to do that in the past with our characters. Like, I remember whenever my character got that vial of vampire blood, for like a month and a half, I was looking for every possible excuse I could to get my character to drink it and just to do something like that. But I could never find a good in-game reason as to why my character would.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also part of me wants to, the drunk Aarakocra who's in our party, part of me wants to just tell him, hey, drink this, it's alcohol, and then have him become Vampire Bird. But I know I don't do that, even though I feel like it would be really fun and it would like maybe change some stuff up with how we play.
Sure.
But I don't want to do that because I don't want to piss everyone off.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a balancing act whenever you play between, like I'm playing in a game with Larry, or Mumphrey of the podcast, who's commented before and has been on the podcast before. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I kind of speak out more than I should as far as like taking control of the game as a player. And I think it's just because of that DM mentality that I have, whenever I see a lull in conversation or whenever I see a lull in something, I want to question everything. Mm-hmm. And if there's something there, even if it seems trapped or even if it seems cursed, as a player, I want to fuck with it just to let the DM get to enjoy the thing that they've written into the campaign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like in that one session that we came upon a group of bugbears, and in my backstory, my character had like a very traumatic experience involving bugbears, and I kind of like, just because I wanted to sow chaos, but also like in a meaningful way, I was like, oh, it like triggered some PTSD in Buchenwald's head. And I knew that and I thought that took the story in an interesting way for a few minutes.
Right, for sure. And it does, and it can, and it's important from a DM's perspective to work in that backstory stuff. I've been watching I had been watching just a ton of Dimension 20 over the past few weeks, and they usually start off and their characters are already like level 3 or 4 even. But it's very clear that Brennan is usually the DM for them, and he does session zeros basically, which is, either with multiple people or with just singular people running through and just, playing them through, getting their backstory, just letting them get comfortable with whatever character they're trying to create. Now, granted, the people who play in these games are also improv and comedy writers and stuff like that. So they have a very different way to play their characters because they are performers. Yeah. So they're very aware of how they are playing the character, whether or not they're staying in character or not. God damn it. I'm going to fucking kick this thing if it keeps popping in here.
Hey, Bard.
Hi, Bard.
How's it going, buddy?
Screwing up my cameras.
Chris Pine? Is Chris Pine here? Promoting his new movie, Dungeons and Dragons, whatever the subtitle is.
That movie is going to be so good.
I can't wait to see it. I watched the trailer again recently, and because I was showing someone who hadn't seen the trailer yet, and I was just like, I can't wait to see this. And they're like, I haven't seen the trailer, and I made them watch it, and they were like, that looks fucking amazing. And they don't even play D&D.
Yeah, like I don't think it's going to be a mind-blowing movie or anything.
No, but I think it'll be fun.
If it stays true to D&D to a certain extent, then I think it'll be a lot of fun. Probably isn't going to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, live play has become a really big thing, especially during COVID, too.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we started our whole live streamed thing during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to what you were saying about like the session zero stuff. That I like it. I like doing that stuff because there was one week that all of us couldn't get together and play for some reason, but Ethan and I went to Brandon's place and we did a session zero for my character, and that was really fun. And I kind of want to continue that because we didn't get to finish it.
Yeah, that's where I introduced the Dwarven City Buckenwald grew up in. So Bucky was familiar with Delgorn before you guys were.
Yeah.
And also the Centaur City.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is fun.
My centaur best friend.
Yeah. And you have people that really helps out with, like for me, I like to write a backstory and I like to pepper in a bit of history through there. And then anything that, say, Brandon wants to grab a hold of and play through, he has the ability to do that like in game where we're playing with. And he also knows that if he just like shoots me a message and says, hey, I'm going to introduce this and this is part of your backstory, I'll be able to play off of it.
Yeah, I think that's what he did with me with Buckenwald and the Bugbears. I can't remember what it was. I think I had mentioned something like, because Zoison has that, or Ethan's character Zoison has that whole, the blood fields of Ishtar, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I wanted something similar so that I could like be a dick with it too. And I was like, Brandon, help a bro out. And he was like, Bugbears attack fort.
Yeah, and you complained about it. You were like, bugbears, that doesn't sound very exciting.
And then you told me what they were, and I was like, oh my God, PTSD. And I just ran with it.
All right, let me go ahead and do mine real quick, and then Bucky, you can spill the beans on what you got going on.
Well, make sure you grease up your nerd holes, because I'm about to slide the nerd news in.
Grease up all those nerd holes.
All of them.
All right, so going back to this AI thing, I know we've talked about it like 3 episodes in a row. The Verge reports that Disney's latest AI tool de-ages actors in seconds. In a bid to avoid hours of post-production VFX, Disney researchers have created a neural network that can do the work for them. Remember when making actors look older or younger in movies was a huge deal? The amount of post-production work to achieve realistic results was immense back in the day, but now researchers from Disney have revealed FRAN, a new artificial intelligence that can convincingly age or de-age an actor in a fraction of the time. In an academic paper, Disney Research Studios explains that FRAN, which stands for Face Re-Aging Network, is a neural network that was trained using a large database containing pairs of randomly generated synthetic faces at varying ages, which bypasses the need to otherwise find thousands of images of real people at different documented ages that depict the same facial expression, pose, lighting, and background.
As long as when you speak to the AI, it sounds like Fran Drescher from The Nanny, I'm okay with
that. Fran uses this information to come up with a prediction about which areas of a real person's face would age and how and then overlays the new details, such as adding or erasing wrinkles and jowls onto video footage. The result is what Disney Research Studios claims is, quote, the first practical, fully automatic, and production-ready method for re-aging faces in video images. Looking at a video example provided by Disney, the tech definitely blows Snapchat's aging filter out of the water. I don't think I have that set up to show that, but you can just Google Fran and watch some of the videos for it. They are freaking like... They have one, and if you click on the link down in the description below for this particular article, you can see the differences in the aging output for different aging AI technologies. And Fran is just seemingly leaps and bounds ahead of anything else.
In that same vein, I was reading that Intel created a deepfake detector that has a 96% accuracy rate for an AI that detects deepfakes. And the way that it works is it watches the blood flow, like the flushing of the skin, and has an algorithm that can tell whether that's the natural blood flow of a skin or not of a person.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really interesting.
I'm wondering if they tested that technology out on the new Indiana Jones stuff, because Lucasfilm released a trailer for the new Indiana Jones film coming out next year called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which I am convinced it's going to be a time travel movie, especially from the trailer where there were shots of characters that had died in like Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then there was a scene in the trailer that was like Indy when him and his dad were tied up in The Last Crusade. And I saw that. And when I first saw the trailer, I thought that was just footage from that film.
Yeah.
And then I saw a comparison and was like, no, it's not. It's de-aging technology. And I was like, wait, what? Because that de-aged Harrison Ford looks fucking immaculate.
Yeah. It's very possible. There are a few limitations, however, and this sort of research isn't unique. Disney noted in its research that Fran may be unsuitable for significant alterations, such as re-aging to and from very young ages, and that the graying of scalp hair isn't reflected when aging up an actor, as this wasn't present in the dataset used to train the tool. Given manual VFX work and even practical prosthetic makeup applications don't have these restrictions, Fran is unlikely to be replacing many industry jobs for a good while. Still, the results look just as good, if not better, than real on-screen examples from just a few years back. After all, we all got Uncanny Valley when looking at a de-aged Robert Downey Jr. in 2016's Captain America Civil War, right?
Oh,
right.
yeah. That was weird.
But they kind of played that off as it being a hologram, so it worked.
It's little wonder that Disney has been working on automating visual effects, given it's one of the biggest names recreating or de-aging actors on the big screen. Characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, such as Nick Fury, Hank Pym, and Ego the Living Planet, have all been visually adjusted in recent years, in addition to Star Wars characters like Leia Organa and Wilhelm Tarkin. This also... go ahead.
In Ogre Den, I posted a side-by-side image of Harrison Ford from Temple of Doom and then the de-aged Harrison Ford from the trailer.
Cool.
And it's insanely close.
Wow, yeah, that is.
Well, if you guys think you can talk a little bit about that, I'll see if I can't pull it in.
But yeah, because I remember seeing Rogue One where they de-aged Wilhelm Tarkin, or they brought him back to life. They didn't de-age him. Well, I guess de-aged him from death. But I remember seeing him and hearing the voice, and I was like, oh, that's cool. They're just going to show his reflection. Because they had a reflection of him looking out into space at the Death Star being built, and you just saw like a fuzzy reflection. I was like, okay, that's probably all they're going to show. That in the back of the head is something that'd be easy to recreate. And then he turned around, and my jaw was on the floor the first time I saw it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
When I saw it in theaters the first time, I was impressed that they did it and it looked as good as it did. Now, granted, it did not look perfect, but it was insanely close.
Yeah, but then Leia did not look nearly as good.
Oh, I feel like Leia was easier to hide, though, because she didn't have all the wrinkles and like facial features of an old man like Wilhelm Tarkin did.
Yeah.
She was probably they probably didn't spend as much time with her because they're like, oh, well, she has less detail we have to pay attention to.
Yeah, that's true.
But what was it? There was another one recently I saw, and I can't remember what it was. But I know when they did like Ego, the Living Planet, in Guardians Volume 2, they de-aged Kurt Russell. And that was a mixture of CGI and prosthetics.
Yeah, so, he looked pretty good too in that movie.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder to hide stuff like that in like daylight shots, which is what it was.
Yeah. That's just them showing off.
Yeah. But with that, I have to think it was a lot of help from the prosthetics as well.
Yeah. And FRAN.
Well, no, that was before all this.
Oh, okay.
Guardians 2 came out in like 2017. It came out, 2017.
So you want to get into some of your Marvel and DC news there, Bucky?
Well, I have straight up broke that. How the fuck did I do that?
So I guess Rem isn't going to be able to pull that in.
I did. Everybody's just seeing everything. That's fine.
Okay.
Oops, I dropped my knife.
Uh-oh.
There we go. It's back. We're back.
It is now protruding from your foot. So there's been a lot of big news coming out of the DC Comics and Marvel films realm of entertainment.
All right.
And this is the big news coming out of the DC films. So there were whoever was in charge of DC films since a merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery, now called Warner Bros. Discovery because they are unoriginal as fuck. They have appointed new CEOs of DC Studios. And the new CEOs are a guy named Peter Safran. And I have no idea who that is, but I feel like you may have heard of this next name. James Gunn.
I've heard of Peter, yeah. And of course James.
What's he from?
Peter?
Yeah.
I don't remember now. I remember reading this and I'm like, I know that fucking name, but I don't remember what he's doing.
But yeah, so James Gunn is basically now the Kevin Feige of DC films.
Yeah.
And a few things have come out from then, and this is probably the most dreadful news I have ever heard coming out of DC films right now. A fan tweeted at James Gunn and said, James, can you make me a promise to utilize my favorite Batman villain? And unfortunately, James Gunn said that they are not looking to utilize this one Batman villain in the new direction that DC Films is taking.
And who's that?
Condiment King. I know it's a heavy blow to us all. I know we all wanted to see Condiment King come alive on the big screen as played by Guy Fieri.
So are you familiar with Condiment King's
Absolutely
backstory?
not. I just thought that was funny and I wanted to...
Yeah, no, I know. I know it was a joke. I was just curious if you had looked anything up about
I haven't looked anything up about him. I was at my friend's one day and he had the old 60s Batman show, the Adam West show, playing for his kids. And on the episodes, and I heard Adam West just go, "It's over, Condiment King. You cannot get away," or whatever. And I was just like, what in the fuck is a Condiment King?
Well, clearly, he's condiment royalty of some kind.
Apparently.
Yeah, clearly.
Does he have like the best ketchup known to man?
Very high up in the royalty chain.
Apparently. But anyway, that was just kind of a little bullshit introduction to this whole thing. But James Gunn is basically going to be starting the DC films over from scratch. They are going to release what films are more or less done and ready to be released now. And then after that, they're completely switching things up. They are going to be keeping some of the actors. So, like, I'm pretty sure they've said that Henry Cavill is still going to be Superman. And they are going to, this is another actual, like, big news thing. Mm-hmm. They will probably be keeping Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 is now been canceled, and the next Wonder Woman movie will not be helmed by Patty Jenkins. Which to be honest,
weird because I thought the Wonder Woman movies were pretty successful.
They were successful. I didn't think they were very good because notoriously I hate women.
Yeah.
No, the reason I didn't like the first movie was because it was Captain America, the first Avenger, but it's a woman in World War I this time.
Yeah, so it should be right up your alley.
Yeah, but it was like a almost direct copy of Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's why I didn't like it. And then there was just some really, really weird writing choices in Wonder Woman 1984. And also 1984 was just a kind of bad movie anyway, like writing wise.
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen that one, so I have no opinion on it.
Like, I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I think she does a great job at playing Wonder Woman. It's the writing and direction of her films that I don't like. Like, I like her more in... I thought she was good in Batman v Superman, and I liked her in the Snyder Cut of Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's the one big thing going forward that is 100% not happening.
So DC is like, where's our fucking Marvel money? And
basically
they're just looking at people and they're like, where's our Marvel money?
Yeah.
We have Batman.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing that DC did. When I look at what DC did after Marvel started becoming super successful is they saw, oh, hey, this thing is doing really well because it's a connected universe. No, it's because it was a connected universe, yes, but the films that made up that connected universe were fairly well made.
Yeah.
Like on all fronts.
I mean, even if they were a little cookie cutter, they were still...
Yeah. They were still
cut
watchable.
From a good cookie cutter.
Yeah. But
good cookie.
But you know, they went directly from Man of Steel to Batman v Superman to Justice League, more or less. When that would be like taking all of the Marvel films, starting with Iron Man, immediately going to Captain America: Civil War, and then Avengers: Endgame.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I feel like at that time, DC just lost what the actual reason of success was. They just saw, oh, hey, connected to universe, that's successful, let's do it. But didn't take the time to actually make sure the things that made it up were good.
Right.
You know what I'm looking forward to out of DC, though?
What?
The next Joker film, the musical Joker.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's going to be fucking great.
I am actually kind of excited to see that because I loved the first Joker movie. It made me think things and feel things I didn't expect. I walked out. I saw that film by myself in the theater, and I walked out just confused as fuck about life.
Well, it helped to feed into a fear I have because of the medication that I take for like my bipolar disorder and my anxiety and shit. It really made me think about what would happen if like a doctor just stopped prescribing me medication. Now, Joker was a little over the top with it and what happened to him, and I know that I wouldn't like fucking go insane like Joker did.
You wouldn't go insane and kill
right.
Jimmy Fallon on national television.
Yeah. No, I don't need to be insane to want to kill Jimmy Fallon on national television.
I mean, that's fair. Any of the late night hosts, really, but I digress.
That's
so yeah.
But
yeah, I thought I had something to add, but I didn't.
Okay. But as of right now, it seems like they're going to be using the same actors for most of the things. I think Jason Momoa might be out as Aquaman, I've heard rumors of. And there's been no word on Dwayne The Rock Johnson's Black Adam, which I saw, honestly, not a bad movie.
Yeah.
It was fun. It wasn't, like, great. It didn't have, like, a fantastic story or anything, but the story that was there was okay. And it was just fun to watch The Rock kill people in slow motion with lightning and crushing ability for, like, 2 hours.
So do you think they're going to release that Flash movie? Or do you think Ezra Miller has killed it at this point?
I do think he has killed it at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit. Can we nominate Ezra Miller as fuck shit of the week?
Sure.
I don't know if I have the power to put that into motion, but I would like to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ezra Miller, congratulations. You're the fuck shit of the week.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're a really weird dude who's done some really fucked up shit over the past couple of
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had a slight interest in seeing The Flash because it's basically Flashpoint.
Right.
And they had a lot of cool stuff going for it. And if it comes out on HBO Max, I'll probably watch it, mainly because I don't pay for the HBO Max that I use, and therefore DC won't be getting any of my money from it. But I am kind of happy because I hadn't been liking the direction that the DC films had really been taking, because the majority of them were just like, eh. Like, I really like Shazam, and I did really like Black Adam, even though it wasn't a great movie. It was fun. I'd watch Black Adam again. It was fun. But, like, I wasn't a fan of the Wonder Woman films. The first Aquaman was just, I thought it was fine. It felt very, like, Marvel origin type, which I get. Those are gonna feel like that, but, you know, I think a couple other films had just come out that were Marvel origins, so I was kind of just...
DC needs to strike off in their own direction. They can't just try to ape Marvel at every turn, because Marvel did it first. That's why Marvel was so successful, is Marvel... They didn't invent the blockbuster, obviously. You had Avatar and blockbusters throughout history.
Right.
But they invented the superhero genre in a very strong way.
They
or at least
cemented
the superhero genre.
Yeah, they cemented the connected universe of superheroes, which had never really happened before.
Yeah.
You know, because, like,
and
that would be like if in the...
They found their own formula, and they stuck to it. I mean, all of them have some drama and some comedy, and it hits all those major points that that any person is looking for in a movie. And we keep using the word cookie cutter, but it is. I mean, they're all proven things that work. And where Disney fails is that they're trying to match Marvel's cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
Or who did I? Or DC.
You
Sorry,
said,
DC.
Yeah, DC.
I realized I'd said something wrong there, but yeah, where DC's failing is that they're trying to match Disney's cookie cutter for it, and it's just, you can't do that. You got to make your own mold, and then let everything live within that mold once you find one that works. So
yeah, there's been a lot coming out of Warner Brothers Discovery since the merger. Like, I remember because, you know, the Rings of Power has come and gone in the cultural zeitgeist recently. And I started watching that, made it 15 minutes in, and could not watch any more of it.
Right.
Just because of how stupid it was. And Warner Brothers, the new CEO, what's his name? David Zaslav, had said to a company that bought Middle-earth Enterprises, which is like, I guess, like something akin to the Tolkien estate, but not the Tolkien estate.
Okay.
He basically said, after seeing how poorly the Rings of Power did financially, said, well, hey, we still have the rights to do Lord of the Rings movies, and we intend on using our IPs to make money.
Right.
So that kind of gives me hope for not only the direction of possible Lord of the Rings films in the future, which I don't necessarily know that I would want, but that gives me hope for the other stuff coming out of like DC Films, since that's a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, that they focus more on making an actually good film and not a film that just checks boxes on what needs to be in them.
Right.
Well, they said that they're in the business of making money.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the films that have come out recently have either not been making as much money as they had expected, or have just been critically panned.
Yeah.
And like, there's some outlets that, in terms of like the Rings of Power, there's some outlets that I saw were saying, oh, this is good, but then there were quite a few that were like, if you are actually a fan of J.R.R. Tolkien, this is not the show for you.
Right. Which
is
the dumbest thing to say.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand what they were getting at, just because it wasn't really a adaptation of the books. To me, it felt, I know I only watched 15 minutes of the show, but between that and clips I have seen and what friends who watched the show have told me, it felt very, we want to make a fantasy world, but we're going to give it enough Lord of the Rings names so that we can call it the Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, in that same vein of DC Films getting ready to reorganize itself and, move forward that way, there are some big rumors coming out of Marvel Studios regarding phases 5 and 6. Phase 4 that had come out in the past 2 years, to me, everything has been pretty bland to terrible, with a couple of diamonds in the rough.
What were the diamonds in the rough for you?
For me, I really liked Spider-Man No Way Home. I personally really liked The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, even though I can recognize that show has its issues. Mm-hmm. And I also thought Hawkeye wasn't bad. Hawkeye was actually a pretty good show.
What do you think of Doctor Strange?
I was very disappointed when I saw that movie.
Yeah.
Because they had their whole big thing. It's been long enough since that came out. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen and care about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. They bring in the Illuminati as part of a multiversal thing, and in the comics, the Illuminati is a group of the most powerful people in the Marvel universe that got together to protect the Infinity Stones after Thanos got defeated. So in the comics, it's made up of Doctor Strange, Iron Man, the Black Panther, Reed Richards, Professor X, and I think 1 or 2 other people, but I can't remember who they were. And they did that in Multiverse of Madness. They went to an alternate universe where the Illuminati existed. And that, the whole thing, I liked seeing the characters. Like, they had Patrick Stewart as the Professor X of what I assume was the 90s cartoon series, because when he came on screen, it had the little da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
But the entire thing, the entire Illuminati scene, did absolutely nothing for the entire story.
Wasn't it just to pretty much introduce them and then show how strong Wanda was by her killing them all?
Yeah. It was like, hey, look at all these people. They're strong. Nope.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's lazy writing
Exactly.
to just have your character come in and just destroy, like introduce something strong and then have your bad guy kill them. That's just like such a trope.
Isn't that called like the Worf effect? How like in Star Trek, if they wanted to show that an alien they met was powerful, they just had them kick Worf's ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or any Klingon in general, because Klingons are supposed to be, if I remember correctly, something like to the order of 10 times stronger than a human. Or maybe that's... Vulcans are actually stronger than humans as well.
Yeah. I just don't know anything about Star Trek, but I've heard of the Worf effect and heard that explanation of it.
Right, yeah.
So, but, you know, Marvel... And another thing that, Brandon, I know you've talked about in the past when I've come on talking about Marvel stuff, they really saturated the market.
Yeah.
The whole time. Because between when Black Widow came out and what was the last Marvel big thing?
Black Panther?
She-Hulk. Yeah, Black Panther. Between that and Black Panther, there has hardly been a break between Marvel releases. And the quality has just suffered, in my opinion.
Like, I haven't even watched many of the Phase 4 movies.
Don't. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Like, Eternals was hot garbage. I don't remember hardly anything about that movie.
Yeah.
And when I watched a video yesterday and the guy had clips of it and I was like, wait, what's that from? And I've seen the movie.
So it just didn't stick with you at all?
No. Like, Shang-Chi was okay. I enjoyed it. I like the actor as Shang-Chi, but I feel like the film just wasn't sure what type of movie it wanted to be. Because it was a martial arts movie, a buddy cop movie, father-son redemption and, something else story. And it just was trying to be this, like, 5 or 6 different types of movie, and it just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But I like Simu Liu as Shang-Chi. WandaVision, I enjoyed. I thought it was a very interesting way to start a series. What If was a really fun series, the animated show, which kind of tied into Doctor Strange a little bit.
Yeah, with Peggy Carter, right?
That and I think Dark Strange, I can't remember what that Doctor Strange was called, but there was like a Doctor Strange who went bad. I think
Darker Strange.
Yeah, Darker Strange.
Darker Strange.
And he showed up. I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be him. Or I think it was Superior Strange. He showed up in the movie. I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be him. And then Thor: Love and Thunder was the worst. Just all across the board, just awful.
You are such a nerd.
God.
The humor was bad. The story didn't make any sense. The villain was good until he had to make Marvel-esque jokes, and then it just ruined any good things about the villain. And then Thor just was kind of just dumb.
Yeah.
The whole way through.
And
it wasn't
seems
written
like
well,
they're leaning into the sort of dumb, pretty Thor.
Which
lately.
I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, Ragnarok was a really good film. I like Ragnarok as a film, but I still feel like Infinity War Thor, where he was like super serious and dealing with like his trauma. He lost his brother. He lost half of Asgard. He lost all that he did, and he was trying to deal with that. So I think Infinity War is probably the best we've ever seen Thor.
Yeah. And I have to say, too, I feel like at this point, comics have just kind of left me behind. I don't buy comics anymore, and it's nothing to do with how they produce them or how they create them. There's just so much media out there now. And if I was a super fan, I could see myself being, because Bucky, you've gone and seen most, if not all of the movies in theaters.
Yeah. I haven't seen Wakanda Forever yet because I heard some things about it that I'm just like, I don't know if I want to give my money to that, so I'll wait till it comes out on Disney Plus.
Fair enough. But you would consider yourself still kind of a super fan of comics and stuff, although do you read comics?
I used to read comics. I like reading some of the older release stuff if I can get trades of it, but a lot of the newer stuff, it's just not written for me anymore.
Yeah.
and I haven't like I enjoy some of the artwork in it, and that's about as far as it goes anymore for me.
Yeah, and I think it's unfortunate with a medium like comics, or even video games, not so much, or movies, but comics, I guess, especially, is you kind of end up growing out of them.
Yeah. Like, and it would be cool if they had some runs that were like, this is for the people who are fans of Captain America during this specific time. Like, I love the Ed Brubaker books from around when the Civil War comic was released. Like, he was the one who reintroduced the Winter Soldier. He brought, like, the Red Skull into a bunch of stuff. I just love those books across the board. But some of the newer stuff, I wasn't a fan of the writing direction. The writer had also said some things about some things that I just could not approve of someone saying, and I just didn't really want to give my money to that anymore.
Yeah.
Especially since I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to separate the art from the artist. I definitely have been there before, too. If somebody says something you disagree with, to me, that kind of taints going forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, there's been some stuff that's happened with TV shows. I'm kind of able to separate it a lot of the time because, I mean, someone can disagree on it. Like, I can watch Captain America. I disagree with Chris Evans on a lot of things, but I still like him as Captain America, and I do think he's an okay actor. But, you know, I just not a huge fan of him as a person. I'm a fan of his work.
Yeah. How are you going to hate on Chris Evans? He ripped apart a log with his arms.
Yeah, that was like Velcroed together.
No, he's that strong. That was real. They used no CGI whatsoever.
It was a real log.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little rotten, but...
Yeah. Well, in the behind the scenes, what's the, like, things on his arms? Like the weird little, like, crosshatch stuff on his arms that look like it's for CGI.
Those are called muscles. Maybe you've heard of them.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
No.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we need to wrap up, unfortunately, because I have another podcast I have.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, Brandon, the podcast Mandan.
Brandon, the podcast king. All right. So when are you supposed to, what was it, 6 o'clock you were supposed to hook up?
Yeah, I was supposed to start at 6, so.
Oh, damn.
I'm awful. We just let Bucky talk too long. That's all it is.
No, he probably had a lot more news, too. There was a lot of news coming out of Marvel.
Yeah, because a lot of the main thing was phases 5 and 6 are basically getting pushed. They're getting delayed and reevaluated. I've heard that the very substantiated rumors are that they are going to stop focusing as much on the Disney Plus series, and then they're going to focus more on, like, the special features, like what was it, Werewolf by Night, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday specials. Those were Marvel Studios special features, and I think they're going to focus more on them than the series.
Yeah.
But, I've heard some of the things have already been axed, but nothing's been confirmed yet.
Yeah, it's still kind of up in the air at this point.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of those same stories that you were talking about.
Yeah. And it was all this happened after Bob Iger, the previous CEO of Disney. He came back as CEO. I don't know what the whole reason for his coming back was, but he said something similar to what the head of Warner Brothers Discovery said, where he was just like, we need to start focusing more on quality over quantity of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And making sure we're actually putting out, a quality product instead of just trying to, flood the market. Because before Disney Plus, there were only 2 Marvel releases a year, and they were seen as pretty big events whenever they happened. And then it just, after Disney Plus came out and after COVID, it was all just, here, Marvel thing. Oh, you have a week between this Marvel show stopping and this Marvel film releasing.
Yeah.
And it just was always a thing, and I was even getting kind of tired of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap her up because I do have a call. Viscount Terry W. Irvin called in, so.
Don't we have a couple calls? I think I remember last time we recorded, you said that there was a call you forgot to give.
Mumfrey called in on the hotline, and Terry called in on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and play Mumfrey's, and then I will play Terry's over my phone, I guess.
Okay, but we won't hear Mumfrey's?
Won't hear Mumfrey's because I don't have that fed through properly because I suck as a podcast guy.
Will you give us a Cliff's Notes version of it after you play it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Hello. This is a response to the ending of your last podcast. As far as the Patreon goes, that's supposed to be a little monthly reminder that, well, sometimes I don't leave comments on Facebook. Sometimes I don't Twitterize. But I still want you to know I appreciate the work you put in. I do know that servers cost money. Nothing's free anymore, so hey guys, here's $5. Buy yourself a chili dog and some root beer and maybe shit your whole ass. Have a good one, Dueling Ogres.
Okay, so I read that out loud so Brandon and Bucky could hear it, but everybody else heard Mumphrey's version there. So yeah.
I would love a chili dog and root beer right now.
I would love to shit my own ass.
Get your whole ass.
Shit my whole ass. And then let's see here. Terry did as well. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick so we can hurry up and get Brandon out of here. I'm sorry. Brandon's other podcast. What are you doing today?
We're probably not.
We're probably not okay. Yeah. Okay, hold on just a second. Thankfully, he's in my phone as Terry, so I knew which one it was. It wasn't just a random number. Also, I saw that he called me. So, like, I was at work when he called me, and he was calling, and I was like, oh, shit, Terry's calling. It must be something, you know? Not realizing that he was just calling to leave a message. So he kind of stutters in the beginning because I was trying to call him back, and he was just like, ignore it. All right, here we go.
Hey, Dueling Ogres. Hey, Dueling Ogres. The Vice Count author Terry W. Irvin here. In answer to your question in episode 226 about author earnings, and I think the Diamond Man, Stephen Hines, will back me up on this. Well, maybe it'll be better to illustrate with an example. A short while back, I was thinking about outbidding Elon Musk for Twitter. I think his offer to buy up all the stock was about $44 billion, but I decided against it. To get enough cash on hand, it would have meant like writing another book, and at the time, I just wasn't feeling it. Anyway, I hear that podcasting is way more lucrative than authoring. Am I right? Hey, take care. Bye-bye.
Yes, I mean, we're just rolling in the dough, so...
I don't know if you're watching on YouTube, but if you are, you can clearly see behind me that I have my life fully in order.
Yeah. And my studio just couldn't get more decked out with fancy recording gear.
Yeah.
These are not just moving blankets on the back of my wall.
And I give them my money.
Yeah.
I commented on a Facebook post recently.
You may have. I haven't got to that yet, Bucky. We're getting there right now. You can also reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres. Email us at duelingogres@gmail.com or leave a comment on the Facebook page like these nice people. Brandon, go.
I don't have it pulled up because I didn't.
Damn it.
I didn't think that you actually posted the last episode because Terry messaged me too and said that the episode wasn't posted on Facebook. So he had to message me directly.
Oh, weird. That might I don't remember now. That was way longer ago than I meant for it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say that we did get a comment on our Dueling Ogres on our YouTube, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was from just a second. Comments. From Pirate Ratio, 3 weeks ago, commented on episode 226, One Way to Play D&D, and said, time travel is bullshit. To which I said the best part is that I don't think we really mentioned time travel once after that, which when I said we were going to talk about time travel the whole time.
Yeah.
Also, I think that having the recording caught up to that point, I also think that I have recording caught up to the point that I can just release them after I'm done recording, so I shot that right in the dick. They also said, also point of order, we still do a whole crap ton of quote-unquote science on cute little animals and dogs that kill or maim them. I said, unfortunately, you're right, and in my personal estimation, there's no reason for that. The link that I included for the reference to Leica is a video from the Pop Sci channel, and it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And finally, also 120 grams of cocaine would be 1/10 of a kilogram, and a kilo is a small brick, so 1/10 of a small brick. To which I said, never ask me to math, grammar is my forte, and thanks for the great comments.
So yeah, we were way off. I got a couple comments about how off we were about
our measurements of fucking drugs.
About our cocaine measurements.
Yeah. Sorry, I guess everybody. Sorry that we don't do more drugs that we know what a fucking gram of cocaine looks like.
You would think so, with all of the money that we make as podcasters, that we'd take up a designer drug like cocaine.
Yeah. I mean, you would think, but it just, it just doesn't speak to us on a visceral level. Did you find any comments for me?
You didn't post it.
Oh, that's right, because I'm awful. So make sure to subscribe on our website at duelingogres.com because I said so. And finally, finally, sure, some 5 stars. Reviews, iTunes. Bars YouTube's Harbor Radios and podcasts everywhere for times.
Right.
What?
Yep.
Did you just have a stroke?
Maybe. So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusks sharp.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Oh, that's it. I'm gonna play the outro. Shut up, everybody. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, I'm gonna mute you guys.
Oh, how dare you.